Okay, so describe an important river or lake in your country. So there we go, there's the question for this season. So it says you should say, and as always, as I explain, as many teachers who are understanding the test do know, you don't have to. Should is not must. You can if you want. So I'd suggest if you're talking about the river, you can choose a river, and if it's not such an important river, you can make it important. It doesn't really matter how important it is really, but you can make it important. So you have to suggest it's important because of some reasons why it is important to a region, an area. It's important as an eco-friendly or an ecologically positive thing for your environment or for your surroundings. So you can say it like that and say it's important in that respect. Okay, so even if you think the river you're thinking of or the lake you're thinking of is not important in your country, you can make it important. So the examiner realizes, yes, it's important. Okay, so there you go. So one of the ways to talk about this, you can talk from big to small, as I always suggest, to help you really focus in on what you're saying in your definitions. If you're defining something, you generally give a big picture, then you focus a little closer, then you go down to the small details. So, just like in a river, it usually goes from a small area to a big area. But if you're coming from the sea, it goes from big to small. So it runs the length of the country, you might say. It runs the length of the continent. Yeah. So these words are words that collocate well. They fit together well. They'll give you that score for your English collocations. So if you can remember a few of them, runs the length of. That's the chunk of language you want to try and remember there. Runs the length of. So it used to be. It used to be a lifeline for trade in the old days. A lifeline for trade in the old days. So you could be more specific then. So that's a very general, big picture statement. The river used to be a lifeline for trade in the old days. Then you can go into more detail. What kind of trade? What kind of old days are we talking about? It flows towards the ocean, the sea, it flows towards a lake, it flows towards the river, another river, it flows into the estuary. You've got other options, but don't make it too difficult. Don't try and learn too much language. Just try and familiarize yourself with the language you know, fitting it together well, and create a really good answer that's prepared well. It starts off in the mountains, it flows through the valleys before reaching, again, words that fit together, starts off in the mountains or starts off in the, and you can say which mountains, flows through the valleys before reaching. It's magnificent, it's breathtaking, it's wonderful, it's spectacular, and again, you can use these words for lakes and lovely streams or things that fit together well with streams and rivers and lakes and other bodies of water. You can talk about the river or the lake being home to. The river is home to many types, varieties, species of birds and fish. Or people like to go bird watching there. Or they like to go fishing there, and that's why it's important. And again, you can go into detail if you know a specific time of year when it's a good time to go in the summer. Maybe the fishing is good in the spring, and that's when people start to go, and there's a famous time when people go to catch fish. The river is wide and runs under bridges and rises during the wet season. Now, you probably don't want to say all that at the same time, but you'll find something in there perhaps that you'll say, or you could say. Then you can give some stories about the past. You know, if you're giving a good answer, you're going to be using the past, the present, and the future. So when you're doing that, you might give a story about when you were kids and you like to throw sticks off the bridge and watch them float down the river. We used to feed the ducks at the weekend too. As children, we swam there in the summer, which was always great fun, but it was a bit dangerous sometimes. Walking along the riverbank at night is romantic, and there are lots of bars and restaurants along the riverside in certain parts of the river. It's a lot of fun in the summer. Thanks so much for watching, and I really appreciate you watching to the end as well. And if you've been watching previously and you've seen things previously, I apologise for some diverse kinds of material. I obviously, as you can see in some of those images, I have now moved to a farm and live on a farm, so I've been sharing some of the farm images. Bear with me, I'll give you some more IELTS language as soon as I can. Here's the first of hopefully many this year, so welcome, and thanks very much for watching.